what description will I have for the children of this generation? When Jesus talks in this context, he is referring to a first group of children who are people who are seeking to follow him. Those people who were baptized by John in the River Jordan, all those pagans who came to listen to him and to receive the baptism of repentance, awaiting the coming of Jesus. But also we have the scribes and the Pharisees who have totally rejected the message of truth, who rejected the message of John the Baptist, and at the same time they reject the message of Jesus. And what is the reason behind their rejection? As we know, is self-righteousness, is pride, is lack of love, because they feel everything has to come from them. Every other thing that does not come from them is null, is avoided, and is sinful, is bad. So therefore they make themselves the source of everything, and that is pride. And what is pride? Pride is when we exalt ourselves, when we feel we do not need any other thing, we are self-contained and all that. And this is a slim connection. There is a slim connection between the gospel today and the first reading, which is one of the greatest description of what love is. And one of the things that is said here is that love is not boastful. In other words, pride and love is something that do not mix. They go their separate ways. When we are proud, then it's difficult to love, because love is seeking or wanting or willing the good of the other. That is what love is really. Willing or wanting or seeking the good of the other. And that is why Jesus says, if we do, St. Paul, when he describes this love, he says, if you do everything nice and good, and you have no love, then what you do is nothing. And there was one of the students who was talking to me recently, not a student from the seminary, was saying that somehow the human being is always selfish by nature. That whatever thing we do, we always want to get something back for ourselves. That it doesn't matter what we do, it doesn't matter at times. Whatever thing we do is always because we want something for ourselves in the end. And it's something that I was thinking about, even when we are generous, or when we are doing something for people, or when we are doing an outreach program. What is always the motivation behind that? Is it that I am known? Is it that everybody would see that I am generous? Is it that everybody would see that I am kind and good? And I think Jesus becomes, therefore, if we define love as willing the good of the other, seeking the good of the other, or wanting the good of the other, then Jesus would be the principle of love. Because this is what he lived, that he died that we might live. He sacrificed his godliness in order that we might become one like us, that we may share in his divinity. And this is what love is all about, that we give our lives for the sake of the other. We think of somebody like Maximilian Corbett, who sacrificed his life when he was in prison, and it was his turn to die. The turn of somebody else to die. And he said, because this man has a family to take care of, and I'm just a priest, I'd rather die in his place, that he might live and take care of his family. That is what love is all about. And therefore, if we go further and further, we try to look at something like abortion. Because Jesus, as I say, is the center of love, is the principle of love. Is somebody who shows us what true love is. When Jesus says, I came that you might have life and have it to the full, in John's Gospel, chapter 10, verse 10, abortion says, I came that you might die. It does not give life, it does not promote life. Jesus says that, this is my body given up for you. Abortion says, no, this is my body, I can do whatever thing I want with it. A contradiction of what love is. I give myself that you might live. No. For you, I sacrifice, Jesus says, I sacrifice myself that you might live. Abortion says, no, I sacrifice you that I might live. And this is what love is totally against. Love says we must seek the good of each other. We must be able to look away from ourselves. And this is the example that Jesus left for each and every one of us, that we may look away from ourselves and look towards God and look towards the good of each and every one of them. And that's why when St. Paul starts and says that if I can have the gift of tongues, of angels and of men, and I have no love, then I am just like a gong banging. If I have the faith that can move mountains, and all of that is for my own sake, and all of that is because I want to be seen, I want to exalt myself, it is nothing to do with the good of the other, then it is nothing. He says, if I'm very generous and I can give out as much as I can, and there is no love attached to that, then it is all nothing. And therefore, he says that we must be able, at this point, therefore, to look at ourselves and everything that we do. Is it always directed towards us or towards others? And therefore, everything that we do, if you want to know if it is going to be is the right thing to do, always think about it. The measure should be love. No, when I do anything and I attach love to it, then it is the right thing to do. So anything that you want to do, do it, but let there be love in it. Let it be for the sake of the good of the other. Insofar as it's for the good of the other, therefore, it is the right thing to do. And that's why Jesus says, 3 things last: faith, hope, and love. The greatest of them is love, because love is the measure of the goodness of anything that we can do in this life, because it always seeks not itself, its own glory, but the glory of the other person. And therefore, let us continue, therefore, in this Eucharistic celebration to ask Jesus to teach us how to love and to care for each other, that we may truly be his disciples through our words and through our actions.